Hi, my name is Chris Casio. We're here at the FAWA Training Center taking a look at the newly installed AquaClear AK6S245C. We're going to begin at the manhole cover that straddles the pre-treatment side of the tank as well as the aeration chamber. As you can see on the pre-treatment side, we have a standard solids deflection device. On this side of the tank, there is a diffuser that is located on the bottom of the tank directly underneath this inlet. And what that allows air to do is the bubbles travel up the wall down toward the clarifier, where they create kind of a circular pattern, allowing for the solids that settled out in the clarification chamber to come back and continue the aeration process. We also have a conventional high water alarm as per code that will alarm if the system gets backed up. In lieu of a conventional float switch, they also offer an air dump, which is essentially a 4-inch cap with a piece solvently welded on the bottom that allows it to float in water. As the water would become elevated within the treatment unit, it would push this cap off and cause an alarm. Using nothing but air, has nothing to do with any kind of wiring or conduits. Very nice option. Here we have the manhole cover that straddles the aeration chamber as well as the clarification chamber. You have both 1.5" PVC and 1/2" PVC. The 1/2" PVC is plumbed out that inlet side of the septic tank back to the blower, and for a certain period of time during the day, the blower will go into skim mode. And that skim mode is simply a siphon where it will draw solids that have accumulated on the top of the clarification chamber. It will siphon them back through the 1.5" PVC to the pre-treatment tank where they will let out. While you're servicing the unit, you're going to want to ensure that it is skimming appropriately. So we'll go ahead and put it in skim mode. Ideally, you want the 1.5" PVC that's on the clarification side to be roughly 3/4 of an inch below the water level. And as you can see now, it's got its prime and it's now pulling water, and if there were solids in the tank, it'd be pulling the solids back to the pre-treatment part of the tank. The 1.5" line in the clarification chamber is adjustable. So if you're not getting the siphon to work the way that you want, if it's not drawing the solids back off the top of the clarification chamber, you have about 1 inch to either work it down or up to make sure that that's working appropriately. So now we'll take a look at our blower. As I just mentioned, part of maintenance is going to be ensuring that your skim feature is working appropriately, adjusting that 1.5" line, etc. You're also going to remove this gasket, and then you can clean this air filter. And you're going to want to do that with every maintenance, put it back together. One thing I do want to point out, because this has 2 outlets on it, sometimes it's confusing for new contractors which 1.5" line should go where. So I kind of want to envision picking up this unit. If you ever get confused, you could physically grab the blower and act as though you're plugging those ports in to these 2 pipes. So your normal will always be on the inside, and your skim mode will always be toward the outside of the tank. 600 gallon per day NSF standard 245 AquaClear was plumbed into a dosing tank where we've simulated what a drip irrigation headworks would look like. We obviously don't have a disposal field, but it's outfitted with a float tree. It's the headworks that AquaClear sells. You would travel out to the field, and then you would come in through the return, and we have just plumbed that back into the pre-treatment side of the ATU. But it's an example of what it would look like absent the drip disposal field. Comes along with their panel. We want to take a quick look at it. Comes with that smart relay, allows you to set your times for disposal, however many times a day, however many minutes on, however many minutes off. Also allows you to manipulate the amount of times you want the field to flush, etc. It's also set up if you had a spin filter where you could wash your spin filter as well. I'd like to take a moment to thank everybody involved with the project. I'd like to thank Fowler and Roxanne. I'd like to thank Jeff Mann with Mann Septic Tank Service, who was nice enough to dig the hole. Of course, Florida Septic, who traveled from Hawthorne and supplied the casting that we set in the hole. AquaClear for supplying the concrete kit as well as all the drip components. I would also like to mention Alpha General, as they have a fiberglass unit that is available in the 600 gallon a day currently, that'll meet any application where concrete won't work. And again, I'm Chris Cascio with John C. Cascio Septic. Thank you.